Hi all, Hipper here, and today we're looking at the Saint Louis, the new tier 8 French cruiser again, and I'll show you in this battle that it's actually quite a good open water ship, just like Martel at tier 7, so it's not really surprising. These ships have a lot in common, and with an agile build you can pretty much dodge any incoming battleship salvo as long as it's, around no more than no closer than 11 kilometers, something like that. But the thing is that while Saint Louis can do this, and Charles Martel can do it as well, so can Wichita. And Wichita is overall a better ship in so many ways. It's more agile, actually. It's even better than Saint Louis and Martel, and it's sturdier, and you also get a radar. So it's a much more useful ship. So after Wichita was introduced into the game, there's not really much for Charles Martel to do, really. It does have torpedoes. Wichita doesn't get torpedoes. That's the only thing that really separates the two ships. And while that is, handy, Wichita is still overall a much better ship, I'm afraid to say. And even though Saint Louis is at tier 8, Wichita is simply just a better pick. And if you insist on playing an agile cruiser at tier 8, then Neptune, the British cruiser, is a much better choice. It's far more squishy, yes, but you are going to be a lot more useful for your team than you will be in Saint Louis or Martel. Sometimes, when the battle is right and the map is right, Martel can really show itself from its good side, and so can Saint Louis. But overall, you're going to perform better in a ship with radar. And Neptune has radar, Wichita has radar, and Saint Louis does not have radar. And yeah, that's just a major handicap, it really is. And until, if ever, these ships are given a radar, there really isn't much point in playing them. I mean, with these ships here, you can skirt around in open water as much as you like, but if your team fails to capitalize on the fact that the battleships are all shooting at you, then you'll just be, dodging shells forever and not actually making any progress. And you can do that in Wichita as well, but like I said earlier, Wichita has a radar, so if you have to go looking for destroyers, you can actually do that. You don't have to rely on them to pop up like I'm doing in this battle here, and I actually have a destroyer helping me to spot. Without that, I would be in for a pretty tough battle over here, because my battleships aren't moving out, and I don't really think they should either. I'm just out here to get some attention and leave the DD to cap, because getting into the cap is going to be too close to those legendary to that legendary battleship there, and it's too risky, especially when he's so interested in shooting me, because there's nothing else to shoot at really. Well, I fully get it. So at least I get to try out Saint Louis here in an open water environment, and how well it actually dodges shells, which it does fairly well. Not as good as Martel and not as good as Wichita. So again, yeah, I struggle to see what the point of this tier 8 ship here is. Obviously it's much better than Neptune, but then again, Neptune is just a slightly worse Minotaur, really. And in some ways, it's also a slightly worse Edinburgh. So again, not that Neptune is a bad ship in any way, but it just has a lot of competition that's just much better than it is. And when it comes to Saint Louis, it's pretty much a carbon copy of Martel. So you're really just handicapping yourself playing this ship here up at tier 8 instead of playing Martel at tier 7 if you absolutely insist on playing a French heavy cruiser. Also, the fact that you cannot have sonar and main battery reload boost equipped at the same time in these ships here, it's just not the best pick, I think. If you could have both equipped, at least then you would be more useful. You could actually pump out burst damage, and you would also be able to chase destroyers. For example here, I don't have a sonar in this battle here, so I'm completely relying on someone else spotting the Shima. Without that spot happening, I would probably gone around this corner here and the Shima would have torped me, because I would have no idea he's there. And I mean, that's the whole point of cruisers, is to sniff out destroyers. So if you can't do that, And why are you playing the cruiser then? That's a good question, isn't it? It's actually a bit of a shame how the French cruisers, and in part the Italians too, have just been, you know, put on a side track, and no one's really paying any attention to them, because they aren't as multi-dimensional as the other cruisers are, and that's a shame. Like Edinburgh, Wichita, Hipper, even I think, are better picks overall than Martel and Saint Louis really are. Unfortunately, yeah, it's a bit of a shame. And also, like I said before, Neptune, if you absolutely want to play a tier 8 cruiser, it's a better pick. Better damage output, better torpedoes, I mean, worse armor, yes. But other than that, it just does better. And it has sonar, and it has radar. And you can switch the radar for smoke if you so want. But on Saint Louis, you can switch your sonar to main battery boost like I have here, but honestly, who would want to do that? Because that means you don't have a sonar. And like I said earlier, sonar and sonar and radar is the whole reason that cruisers are in this game, to find and sniff out and, you know, destroy destroyers. So if you can't do that, then yeah, I don't get it. And I especially don't get Saint Louis. I don't understand why this ship doesn't distinguish itself more from Martel. Like, if you compared Edinburgh to Neptune, like, there's a world of difference there. World of difference. But Saint Louis and Martel, they're pretty much identical. Like, you get a little bit more hit points in Louis, and I feel like you get a little bit better armor, but that's it. Other than that, there's absolutely no difference. And another thing that really makes me wonder is why it took Wargaming so long to add the main battery reload boost onto Martel. Because Martel hasn't had that boost for its whole time in the game, and then Wargaming adds the main battery reload boost onto Martel, that's 1 or 2 months before Saint Louis comes out with the same thing. Yeah. Why not just not add it to Martel then, and just wait? Let the community wait for Saint Louis, and then at least then Saint Louis would have something that Martel doesn't. But I mean, I'm not gonna complain that you have the option on Martel. I just think it's weird timing. That's all. So obviously I'm running an agile build on Saint Louis here, and all I'm really doing is testing out how agile it is, how well I can dodge these battleship shells here. And it's not bad. It's not as good as Martel, like I said, and it's definitely not as good as Wichita. So again, if this is what you want to do, play Wichita. There's really nothing else to it. It makes much more sense. And playing Saint Louis, or playing a French heavy cruiser or an Italian heavy cruiser for that matter, yeah, I don't really see the point. So this is what I'm talking about here. Just you know, baiting the SS to shooting at me, leaving everyone else free to do whatever it is they want. And sometimes the teams are really good at capitalizing on that, and sometimes they just don't. And yeah, you just have to make do with whatever happens then. So there's only 3 ships left here, and we are up 6 ships, so it's looking pretty good. I mean, getting that destroyer earlier on was a bit of luck, because I knew he was around, but I didn't know exactly where he was. And thanks to, I'm assuming it was the destroyer that actually spotted him, my destroyer. So thanks to him, we got that destroyer removed. Not really thanks to Saint Louis, because this ship is blind. No sonar, no radar. Yeah, it's just it's not a very good pick. I think it's fun to play, yes, but it's not the best pick. I would almost say that the German tier 8, the Rune, is a better pick. Like Neptune first, then Rune, then Buffalo, and probably then Saint Louis. And yeah, there's really no reason. If you don't have this ship here, don't, go hitting yourself, because if you have Martel, then you pretty much have this ship here. Except Martel is at a tier lower and it's facing easier ships, at least usually. So you might as well just stick with Martel and just give this tier 8 here a miss, because it costs 25 million silver just for the ship. Of course, you also have to unlock it first, and then you have to upgrade it, and of course you have to play it a lot for that, or you can use green XP, but yeah, that like what I did, and it's just not worth it at all, really, unfortunately. So just waiting for, you know, another like a heavy French legendary cruiser. Instead, Colbert is there, but it's a light cruiser, and the game has kind of moved on since Colbert was a new cool thing at last Christmas, and it's nice to have it in the game, but without the radar, again, it's just not very useful. And I always end up playing Minotaur in the end, because it's just such it's a much better ship overall. So that was a kiting open water Saint Louis here that obviously you can do if you want, but yeah, play something else. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. See you out there.